What's up YouTube? My name is TheLazyTryhard and today we are going to be starting up / revising our libgdx tutorial series because recently libgdx decided to go to 1.0 and because of that they made a new way of installing libgdx and using it. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do that and how to integrate that into your libgdx projects, which hopefully you'll follow the tutorial series on my channel. Go check it out. It's a great time. So to do this, what you're going to want to do is download the following. So you go to the libgdx website. You just type in libgdx. It should be the first one that comes up, and you see this beautiful home page. That image not found. That's awkward. But you go to the download section and you see that libgdx uses a Gradle-based setup application which will download blah 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 blah. This is the new way of doing it. What my tutorial series covered was how to do the old style builds, which he now strongly discourages. So what you're going to want to do is click this button, and I already have it installed, but I'm going to do another one. This is like my fourth take of this, so no big deal. So you're going to install that, you're going to click on it, and you're going to get this nice little libgdx project setup generator. So this is pretty standard. Like if you've seen my old tutorial, this kind of follows the same general concept. So you have the name, that's the name of your game, project, whatever you want to call it. The package, I usually just call it com.me. Whatever the game is called, game name. Let's just say game name. And the next is like your game class. I usually call this the libgdx game, just because like I instantiate it as that and I know it as that. You can call it whatever you want. The destination is where you're saving it to. So usually I save it to my desktop, but I have a libgdx folder somewhere in here. And we're going to find it really quick. Or we're just going to create one. Alright, cool. We're going to create a libgdx folder, and I'm just going to put it in there. And it's going to be awesome. And then next, it's going to ask for your Android SDK. Now, for those of you who don't know what an Android SDK is, it's basically the framework of Android, because libgdx is a cross-platform has a cross-platform kind of deal. You have to download the SDK. It doesn't just come with libgdx. So to do that, you go to the Android SDK developer site, which if you want to do that, you just go to Android developers on Google and go to the SDK and download this, and you'll get the ADT bundle for Windows. So we don't need the whole bundle, but I already have it saved out. So I'm going to go to my desktop and we're going to select it. So if you download it, you should get something like this: ADT bundle Windows, and then your processor. If it's a 32 or 64-bit, that'll be the only difference. So if you click on that, you'll have Eclipse and SDK. You want to click on the SDK because that's what it's asking for. The ADT bundle comes with Eclipse, but we're not worried about that. We're just worried about the SDK. So you open that and you have the SDK set up. Next, you're going to see the libgdx version. We only have one option there. So the sub-projects, this is where you want to find out what you want to develop. Do you want to develop for the desktop, which we do because it's a good way to debug. We want to develop for Android as well, obviously, because that's what this whole tutorial series is on. We don't want iOS because I don't have a Mac, and HTML I just don't want to cover. So, and finally, you have to go over the extensions. Now, I've worked with Box2D and Box2D Lights. I've not worked with bullet free type tools or controllers. Really, you don't have to worry about this. This is kind of just if you know you want to develop with these certain extensions, you check the box. You can go in later and update them if you need to. But right now, we're just going to uncheck all of them because we don't necessarily need them. So you're going to hit generate, and you're going to get you're hopefully not going to get this, but since my SDK is not updated, it's going to ask you to update it. Well, I don't want to do that right now. So it's just going to go through this command prompt for about 2 minutes, and while that's going on, I'm going to hopefully be able to explain to you what this whole new setup is. So in my other video, oh wow, that was insanely fast. So hopefully it'll go longer for you, but if it didn't, my computer's better than yours. So once you click out of that, you can just exit that and open up Eclipse. Now, you're going to have to download a couple files because right now it's saved as a Gradle project. So right here it says a Gradle-based setup application. That's different than what it was before, where you could just import the projects in and just go on. You actually have to have a plugin for Gradle on Eclipse. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Help, and you're going to want to install new software. Now we go to Add, and we have to give it a location in which to add from. So that's the next website we're going to go to, and we're going to go to the GitHub site of the Eclipse integration Gradle. So if you want to just type in Google, that's just github.eclipse, and just type in Gradle. And it should be the first one that comes up. So you go here, and you go to the installation instructions for Eclipse, which should be somewhere around here. Eclipse integration Gradle, that's us. So you're going to go to here, and it's going to say install Gradle tooling from update website. And it gives you the development snapshot, the latest milestone build, and the latest release. Now, to be safe, we're going to do the latest release because that's just standard, and I know it'll work. So you're going to copy and paste that into this location, and you're going to get these two extensions. You're going to get the extensions with Gradle integration, and then the uncategorized. So do that, or check both those and hit next, and it's going to give you all these plugins that it's going to magically download for you, and you got to accept all of this. So it's going to install all that, and while it's going on, I'm going to explain it now. So Gradle is basically a online way to build your project. So in the old way, libgdx would have you download like 1,000 jars in their folder. It's going to ask you to restart, just restart. You have 1,000 jars, and you're going to have to import, and it was really complicated. But now with the 1.0 release, they have it so you can have that one jar, and we clicked on it, and it was just a setup UI, and it downloads everything that you need for that build. So once you compile everything, it goes out to the website, if it hasn't already, and it gets those build tools for building the libgdx project, because it doesn't have them because we don't have 1,000 jars in our folder that it can access. Now the library is online, and we don't have to worry about that. It's a more accessible way to do all that fun stuff. So now we're going to finally import the libgdx projects. So if you installed everything correctly, you're going to get this Gradle tab when you go to import. So you're going to click on that, you're going to hit Gradle project, you're going to go to next, you're going to go to browse, and it actually already has it for mine, but you see how I have the .gradle Android Core desktop. Don't worry about it, just click the folder that you saved it to and click build model. And it should do a bunch of magical stuff that I honestly don't know all that goes into it, but ultimately you get this libgdx folder, which is our folder, and you get the 3 projects. You have the Android, the Core, and the desktop. So if you finish, libgdx and Eclipse should put that into your projects, and it should populate them right here. So you see that it has a beautiful little G right next to it. And it's a little weird with the architecture and stuff, but don't worry about this libgdx project or libgdx file or folder, project, whatever you want to call it. Mainly what you're going to be dealing with is the source, and this is the basis from where we all do our Java programming and stuff. So it's just the only difference is now it's a core instead of we have 4 Gradle projects instead of 3 when we were working with libgdx before. Again, if you're new to this series, that doesn't bother you or doesn't affect you in any way because you haven't learned any of this stuff. But just precursor for anyone who has followed libgdx or kind of knows what they're doing. So if we run this, we can't run this project. We have to run the desktop version of it. But if we run that, it should run like a normal libgdx file. You want to run a Java application, and you get this starter game. So that's about it. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about libgdx, check out my tutorials, and I'd be glad to help you guys out in any way I can. So thank you so much for watching. Please rate, subscribe, comment if this helped you, and I'll see you guys later.